Good afternoon. Now, I'm going to demonstrate quickly how you go about approaching and completing this test, this performance test called candy corn. Now, the very first thing you do when you're given your sheet of paper like this is decide what color to put in your hand. Step number one, pick up a color. Step number two, decide where it goes. Step number three, lay it down lightly and evenly, fitting it tightly to all your edges and corners. You notice that I'm not pressing very heavily. You also notice that my left hand, my non-dominant hand, the one that isn't holding the pencil, is really helping to control the paper, moving it into position so my right hand and the pencil can do their jobs. Remembering, please, that you're not pressing heavily at all. The color that you have in your hand can be used in multiple areas, and that's not only good for unifying your artwork, but also speeding up the process, saving time. I could leave some of these white tips white, because in actual fact, with real candy corn, they are, aren't they? But it looks like I've added a little bit of color to each and every one. The colors you're going to use are arbitrary colors. They're colors that you choose, and you don't have to have a reason for wanting to choose them. Now that I've decided what colors I want and I've laid them down lightly and evenly and tightly, we're ready to figure out where does the darkest value go. Now with this pencil in my hand, I'm going to test it and see what is its darkest value, and it's that right there. I also want to see what's the full range of value that I can get from this pencil. So moving the pencil slowly and releasing the pressure on the tip of the pencil gradually, I get to see what a full value range or a complete gradient of that color looks like, from very dark to very, very light. This is one of your primary skills in my classroom, being able to control the pressure on the tip to realize this full gradient of color. Even something like yellow, which is difficult to shade with, see, it doesn't go very dark, can still be used to create a gradient. It's not much of a gradient, and typically yellow is not used by itself to shade. Normally other colors are used with it, which is great. I've already got some other colors here on the paper, so I can use yellow. When I decide on a particular candy corn, like this one right here, the next step is to figure out where is my shadow, where is my darkest value. Now I'm going to say my darkest value in this section is right there. All right, and I could use this same color in all three sections here on this side. As you see it under the camera, it's on your right side. Now, this being the darkest value and this being the lightest, I must follow the curve of the form, low to high, right to left, and shade as I go. So I'm going to use that same skill, that same technique, controlling the pressure on the tip of the pencil to achieve a look that's more rounded, that's more three-dimensional. I can keep going back to my deeper, darker values if I want, making them darker still, increasing the value gradient, increasing the range of the gradient, okay? So that one's done. Maybe not my favorite, but hey, it's done. So that's how I would proceed. Decide where your darkest value is going to be, and follow the curve of the candy corn. The line shows you the curve, moving from bottom to top, right to left, and by the time you're halfway across to the other side, you're pretty much done. Remember, you have to leave much of the lightness here that is part of your gradient. Again, since this is in my hands, I'll go ahead and use it. I'll do a little orange here, dark to light, a little orange here, dark to light. You can see how quickly things go when you don't bother picking up a new color. You just continue for a little while using the same color, using it again and again, and balancing out its use throughout the design. And I'll do it right here. Orange on orange doesn't create a new color, but I can mix colors if I want. And again, your choices are somewhat arbitrary. Now here's dark and here's dark. Here, I'll put dark there, and I'll just go dark to light. Not as dark as I'd like for it to be, so I might put another color over that. I can even do a little dark to light for the other side, or I can even blend my colors here a little bit if I'm able to. Continuing on, Picking up a color, deciding where your dark value goes, and pushing it along, following the curve of the object, dark to light, dark to light. You notice that tip is very light, and I put very little color there. Let me go ahead and darken this a little bit. It wasn't nearly as dark as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to darken that. And the orange too while I'm at it, very, very lightly. Just a little bit to get a little more depth of color there. Again, with the color in my hands, dark to light, dark to light. You may switch colors at any time. Dark to light, dark to light. So by the time you're done, each and every one of your candy corns is colored and shaded carefully, dark to light. Now I still have a ways to go on this one, and you can identify those pieces of candy corn that have not yet been completed. If the color is flat, if it's the same color and the same value, all parts, that needs to be taken care of. You're looking for that complete range of value, dark to light, moving across the form of each candy corn. You may blend colors if you like to, you do not have to, but follow the curves. The curve or contour line on the candy corn shows you the direction you will be shading. Now this one is not yet done. This one, however, is. So when you are finished and you've made sure that you've shaded each and every part dark to light, you are completely done. And you need only to put your name on the paper, first name, first initial of your last name, class period, and then you are going to be turning these in. I will not take photographs of these. You will be turning these in for 50 points. I need to see craftsmanship. I need to see the technique of shading. And of course, you need to do each and every one for the right amount of detail. All right, now you try.